or welcome for the first time to this growing channel. My name's Julia. I like to do tarot pick-a-card readings on this channel, and I am a huge astrology enthusiast as well, so I like to combine my knowledge and interest in both fields to provide you the most accurate reading possible. And today we are back with our weekly reading. This week I decided to opt for these paint scraps instead of crystals. So this is the first group, the second, the third, and the fourth. And let's see what the next 7 days have in stock for you. So I'm very excited for this reading, and let's hop into your card selection and see you in your reading then. So welcome to your group selection, and today I decided to go for these little painting scraps instead of crystals. And let's now just dive into our meditation for selecting your group. Please make sure your feet are resting on the ground if possible, regardless if you're wearing shoes or socks or are barefoot. Just really make sure your feet are touching the ground and you can feel how your feet are connected to the ground. You can close your eyes for the next few seconds while you take your breaths in mindfully, 3 deep breaths, feeling how our belly moves with the flow of air in our body. Inhale and exhale. And one last time, inhale and exhale. Now slowly open your eyes and let your gaze wander over the paint scraps and ask yourself, either out loud or in your mind, what are my next 7 days going to look like? How is my upcoming week going to be? And listen to your gut feeling, to which little scrap is driving you. And don't choose with your eyes or, with a conscious liking of one of them. Listen to your gut, which is the group that contains the messages that you need to hear regarding your next 7 days. And you can pause the video to meditate even longer if you need to. And when you are ready, just go down to the description box, click the timestamp of the group you chose. I'm now just gonna introduce, this is the first group, this is the second group, the third group, and the fourth group. So whenever you're ready, go to the timestamps and see you in your reading. So welcome to your reading, group number 1. So if you chose this paint scrap here, then this is going to be your reading. So I think just for reasons of practicability here, I will move the other groups to the side just so we have a little bit more space, because the scraps take up a little bit more than the crystals. So hello group number 1, and let's first map out with some tarot cards what your next 7 days are going to look like. Okay, interesting. Came out like this, and I feel like we should keep it this way. So for you, things are happening very quickly. So group number 1, what is their week going to look like? So interesting. Group number 1, I feel like for you, you might just be coming out of a period of solitude. Maybe last week you were one of those groups which really dwelled into, their own thoughts, their own ideas, did some introspection. And I feel like with you returning into, social circles maybe a little bit more, having more contact with people again, maybe during the holidays, somehow it doesn't entirely resonate with your emotional space in a sense, I get. But let's see what the other cards will show. But I feel this is about your social life somehow. Your social life and some disappointment in there. Okay, this one flipped the Mage reversed. Okay. So let's see. Interesting. I feel like we should keep this one here. The others one go down in the deck. So group number 1. What are their lessons? What are their lessons? Okay. I feel like this. I'll put this just for practicality reasons in reverse, because it has some blocking element to it in a sense. It feels very blocked, and somehow I just sense disappointment. Disappointment, and I feel like I think it has been quite challenging for you. You might have been, trying to maybe adjust your attitude or the way you go about relationships, or your boundaries. You might basically have been working on your boundaries, how you set them, setting more clear boundaries with friends, with family, with co-workers, just with people in your life. And that might have gone with, some period of introspection. And in the end, I feel like group number 1, you might have, why do I get this past energy? Why do I get like this has been happened, and you are now more like in the process of dealing with the aftermath? Like, yeah, maybe because of the 5 of Swords, which is basically talking a lot about, if you look at this card more closely, you have a man depicted there picking up the swords and other people walking away. And this card talks a lot about, having no winners or losers in a situation, but basically you get the situation that even the winner in a situation kind of ends up with such a huge loss that it makes the victory irrelevant in a way. So for you, group number 1, I feel this might, you will know that this is the group you picked, and if this will already start resonating with you, I feel. You most likely know what relationship or what situation this is about. And the 3 of Swords reversed, though, talk about it. For you, it ends up here in a position which is about lessons or tasks, learnings that you need to, or that might be good for you to embrace. And it is somehow I get this feeling that, your blessing is that you are in a quite stable position. You are quite grounded, or you might receive support from a person who is very supportive of you, very stabilizing for you. But in fact, you still need to acknowledge that in the end, let me see, the 3rd row is going to be really interesting for that. That was, I don't feel that was a dropout that needed to be included here. Let me just see. So group number 1, how things manifest in reality, in action, in the outer world. Ooh, those were quick ones. This came out second, this came out first. Okay. Oh, 2 came out. So we have the Chariot and we have the Queen of Cups. So the Chariot standing for Cancer in this case, and the Queen of Cups overall, huge water energy here. Huge water energy. And I feel like, it's up to you to find that balance again. To find that emotional balance. Let me check. Clarify the 2 of Swords for me, please. Clarify the 2 of Swords for me, please. Clarify the 2 of Swords for me, please. Yeah. Bottom of the deck is 3 of Wands reversed. Let's just put it here like that. Or just a single card. I will just move this to the side just to move the cards a little bit closer to you. Please let me take a second to really feel this out, because it feels like a very major situation for you, group number one. Something that has, hurt you in a quite deep sense, or that has been a challenge for you in a very emotional and deep way. And I'm now also trying to figure out in like how much of a distant past this was. So we also have the Queen of Pentacles, you have the King of Pentacles here, you have the Queen of Cups here, you have, on one hand, you have very, very secure cards. Also, the Queen of Cups standing for, very intuitive relationship and behavior. By the way, the next card behind this one was actually the Hanged Man upright. So interesting. I feel like for you, you have been trying to tap into different perspectives maybe, and you have been also, you have probably been going back and forth on this for some time, but more introspective, more on your inside. And you have been very hesitant of action. Particularly, or you are, group number one, I believe you are very hesitant to act or to do something, because in the past you might have encountered the situation where you ended up in this situation, winning something while still feeling that you have lost more than you have won. And you probably, you most likely have some good material standing in a sense. Also with the King of Pentacles, I feel that this is about physical material support here. But what it didn't help you with is attaining that balance and that calmity, like that peace of mind and that balance in your emotional place. So in your emotional place, and when enjoying this stability and this blessing that you have here, and using that for something that will excite you, you might have ended up frustrated and not being able to tap into that place where you would like to, and which would be beneficial for you. So also here, I feel like what is the second sword? What is the second sword? What is the second sword for group number one? What is the second sword? Yeah, we have the Devil in reverse here, because I felt like with this Two of Swords, that is in particular amongst all twos, this feels like a decision making, but also coming out of restriction and a heavy place card for me. Like, it is hard to explain, but it is, for me, it contains the essence of, on one hand, taking a decision, on the other hand, being very blocked, or like being, like feeling very heavy on things, feeling like you need to take the decision, but it already is so hard to just maintain things as they are, to even being able to make that decision. And I think that has robbed you of so much emotional fulfillment and joy in the past somehow. And here, like because I was asking, like, what is the second sword of group number one's card here? And the second sword came out as the Devil in reverse. So, and by the way, we have the Devil here, we have the King of Pentacles here, we have the Queen of Pentacles. You might be, and also the Hermit stands for Virgo, so you might be an earth sign actually. And it might not resonate with all of you exactly, but I feel that some of you might be actually, let me just check a little bit what the dice says. Yeah, I see here with the 5. Yeah, it might be, as I said, it might be a very important and deep situation for you, for some of you, maybe even in the family. And with Cancer and Moon, we just had the whole Cancer and full moon situation. So I feel like for you, group number 1, that has probably uprooted some of, and you might be an earth sign who actually got hit quite hard by this, maybe a Capricorn even, or somebody with heavy earth placements, or a Taurus as well, but maybe a Taurus who's going through even their Saturn return at the moment, like earth sign maybe with Saturn return at the moment. So some topic has hit you, in a quite soft and vulnerable spot that probably has been sitting there for some time already, and you have been aware of it, but you probably have been kind of, putting it off for later, because earth signs sometimes are quite good at like rescheduling things like this, like emotional, resolving and like resolution of emotional topics, or of something that isn't necessarily material or part of the necessary life routine in a sense. So me myself being a Capricorn sun, I can relate to this quite well, and having some other heavy Capricorn placements. This feels like you are coming to terms with a situation that has been revealed to you, to some of you most likely, in just the recent days. And the thing is, I feel like you are capable of tackling this quite well, because regardless of that emotional turmoil you might experience at the moment, what is a high quality in you guys I see is that you are, by nature, you are not unactive. You are not. No. You have actually the drive and the will to, initiate things and do things. And this screams Capricorn in a way to me. So it really is that just you trying to implement more of your emotional needs and aspects and boundaries in the decision. And you maybe just starting out with that is kind of blocking you. That is, I feel like the thing is, let's move to the next column. I feel like you guys really, it would be beneficial for you to focus on your emotional growth, do some meditation. Yeah, put things on hold for a while. And it's like, it has a reason why this here is reversed, and why the Ace of Wands shows up in reversed, and why the Chariot shows up together with the Queen of Cups. I feel like it actually is your task and your quest, maybe. And I feel not even just for the upcoming week, but you might encounter situations where you make huge progress in resolution in this matter, and grow there a lot. But I feel this is more like a thing for the month of January for you somehow. So yeah, I feel like the month of January actually might be a lot about, tapping even more into this emotional boundary topic for you. So yeah. And interesting. Very interesting. And bottom of the deck is Eight of Swords. So yeah, you're moving and it's slow steps at times, but those are the ones which will lead you into a very sustainable place, I feel. But it hasn't been easy for you. And you have been most likely internalizing a lot. I feel some of you have been really dealing with this only on the inside. You haven't been talking about this a lot, because when you were, you felt like I don't see necessarily fearing exactly judgment or something alike. I feel it has been more that you have felt, if you tell this to someone, and even a minor false reaction might already set you back and make you very insecure about going with this into any other place. So you have been internalizing probably a lot of this, major parts of it. And yeah, let me clarify the Ace of Wands. Clarify the Ace of Wands for me, please. Clarify the Ace of Wands for me, please. Please clarify the Ace of Wands for me. Yeah. It is for you, group number one, I think a lot about emotional growth, embracing also blissful moments of your past even, having kind of, mending something that has been stuck with you for forever, to be honest. And the six of cups is talking a lot about emotional balance, fulfillment, but not an overflow with that, but finding that spot, finding what the eight of cups are maybe even looking for again after losing that bliss in a sense. And for you, I feel it is really about discovering that and implementing. Like a high topic here, I feel, is implement your emotional needs and your boundaries and your emotional mindset. Not the mindset in a way of cognitive or intelligent decisions, but in emotional matters. Your emotional mindset, how you function, how your soul functions, how you process things. Please, please, please take that into account when taking decisions or when entering situations. You might have disregarded that for a long time, and that probably has robbed you of a lot of fulfilling and happy feelings, when instead some things you actually need to voice them. You need to tell yourself even, and you need to acknowledge foremost before anyone else that these things are valid. And let me see what the Five of Pentacles are talking about. What are the Five of Pentacles talking about? What are the Five of Pentacles talking about? Ace of Pentacles. And that came out, it came out upright, but somehow felt it came out more like this. Yeah. Group number one, for some of you, I feel, don't be so afraid about your emotion, like not emotional, but your financial, your material place. You probably might have been restricting your emotional needs a lot because of fearing, being left out in career sense, or being left out your career or your material world suffering because of that. And it isn't the case at all. It isn't the case at all. And proceed slowly and steady with your endeavors, And I am sure if I would put like a second card on this one, probably something like the cups would jump out. But I don't really feel there's a need to. I feel for you, it is a lot about focusing on your emotional place, and not in a sense of dwelling and feeling trapped there. It is quite the opposite. I feel like your overthinking and your mind very often is trapping you, while you actually can walk away, and you even feel in which direction you could want to go for a healthier place with this, or a better place for yourself here. And yeah, and I clearly hear somehow this is an earth sign thing here. That's an earth sign story somehow. An earth sign story. So let me now just check what you can actually do to treat yourself the upcoming 7 days. So how can group number one can take care of themselves during the next... Ooh, two cards jumped out. Yeah. Lightning, which is a lot about initiation and, striking, and also being very... lightning basically is the result of different air layers collapsing and colliding, and then ending up in that lightning, and especially in that thunder that we have, and that we experience. It is force that is being released. Very, very huge force that can be both distractive, like actually not distractive, but distracting, and but on the other hand, also, I just, I was saying distracting because I feel like I don't know how about you guys, at least I enjoy a lot, like watching thunderstorms and seeing the lightning and then hearing the thunder roll. And somehow I feel like one element or another is distracting from. I feel like you guys, you might be caught up in distraction often. And I got like throughout the entire reading, I got this energy of being very undecisive, but having this force and drive to do things, but being impatient and undecisive. And sometimes maybe it is about releasing more of that emotional force than thinking it through, especially if you feel like not thinking it through. Because I feel a lot of you, honestly, guys, you are very like you know how to plan things out, you know how to measure things out, you know how to analyze, you know that. You know that, and that's something where it might sound arrogant, but it's not that like of course we can always learn something from each other, but that's a position where you rather teach than you get taught. And the emotional realm is actually where you end up in entirely switched positions, and there the tables turn. So also here you have the eagle, which stands for connection and is a spirit guide card a lot. So again, do some internal work. If you are spiritual, work with your spirit guides more closely. Do some ancestor work. Maybe ask them, how can I tap into my emotional resources? What are my emotional powers? Please show me. If you're not, then honestly, some meditation. I know I recommend this a lot, but some meditation, maybe even with some rain sounds and thunder sounds. I don't know why I actually tap into this so much, but I feel that that could be very cathartic for you and maybe kick off some internal process that might be very beneficial for you. So yeah, meditating with sounds of thunderstorm, of rain, of these things, that might be very beneficial for you. And another thing that I wanted to add to spice up this week's preview a little bit is I got these amazing cards which are with different musicians and basically a musician's oracle. And some those of you who know me actually personally know that music is a huge thing for me. Like I'd even make the bold statement that this is just a part of me, of my existence. So I also feel like a lot of, if you are into that a little bit more, a lot of communication and like signs that spirit guides might even send you, actually they kind of try to do that sometimes through music, if music is something very close and important to you. So let's just check which artist you might just put on shuffle, listen a little bit more often to maybe receive some interesting information. So I feel like these go back into thing. I haven't had this cards now for too long yet. So, and they have a very weird feel and shuffling at times because they are bent a little bit, and I haven't had them for so long to like misstore them, and they were just delivered like that. So I'm trying to get them back into some decent shape as much as I can. But we have got two cards for you, which is Nina Simone and Prince. So very interesting. And her card is a lot about, not trusting the cure of a system that has actually made you sick. So if love isn't on the menu anymore, then don't eat. Tell the power, like the government or power establishment the truth. Nothing is more beautiful. So it is kind of a rebellious card, and I feel this resonates a lot with maybe your even introspective side there, and which might have been a lot about growth and transformation and really finding your place in things, and also again boundaries, like really putting your needs first, your what you need and what you actually. Yeah, I feel this is really about some kind of rebellious attitude and finding yourself. And Prince, I must confess, one of my very favorite artists. So do whatever the F you want, but go the furthest with it, like go to the limit with that. Stay in touch with your, rainbow side, your colorful side, and your dream home lies outside of time. Yeah, so interesting. I think this is you inventing yourself in your material world and your material matters. And I get so hardcore, ec- like Aquarius Saturn energy with this one. You really, honestly, guys, you are an Earth sign going through some major shift there. And this is such an interesting affirmation with what is on the Prince card. Do whatever you want to do, but go to the limits with that. Like really stand behind that and don't lose touch to your emotional side, to your vivid and colorful side. It's very, very interesting. And I feel like this will resonate. If you picked this group, like either it was a pick that is now resonating with you very strongly, or you also might have on now guys, honestly, I feel like put on some songs of those two. And whenever you might struggle like falling back into your habit of putting material decisions to the forefront, jam on some Prince there. Like really, really tap into your side, which is more about, enjoying life, creating a life that is fitting your character, your emotional needs more. Do that. So group number one, we have had a long, long reading with you, but I enjoyed every bit of it, and I hope some of this supports you throughout the next week. And I feel for you guys, it's through the entire, for Capricorns, through entire Cap season, so up to the end of January. And overall, this feels like a January read here. So take care. Hope to see you next week again, and take care. Bye. Well, hello and welcome to your reading group number 2. So let's now first just map out your upcoming 7 days with some tarot and with the Rider-Waite deck here. And let's just see what those days have in stock for you. And just for practicality reasons, I'm just gonna remove this from the top and place it more here so we have more space for the cards. And let's now have a look. So, whoop. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Group number 2, I feel like you need to really get out of your headspace here. Yeah. You probably find, for whatever reason, but you find it very challenging to focus on things, I feel. And I feel like you are really struggling to kind of channel your energy, your drive to a prosperous place. But on the other hand, you, at the moment, you might actually go through some shift in. Let me see. Let me just pull the last card and then sit on this for a few seconds. Interesting. I feel like I could place it this or this way, and it really wouldn't matter because it is like cycles, I feel. And Death in Reverse is bottom of the deck for you. And the next one will be Three of Swords reversed. So interesting. Group number 2. What's going on with your headspace, with your emotions? I feel like you have kind of gotten hold of it, but it still is The journey is still ahead of you. What I get is one of the things, the journey is still ahead of you. You might feel like what you have achieved, like that emotional stability that you feel you have achieved, it's kind of just the base ground for a lot more work that you need to put in there, I feel. And I also feel like maybe clarify the King of Wands for me, please. Clarify the King of Wands for me, please. Oh, I saw a flipping card there. Never mind. King of Wands, please clarify the King of Wands for me. Yeah. The thing is, group number 2, I feel it might be for you that you have achieved emotional stability or the notion of it. It feels like you have, taken a sip of this, and, you might have taken a sip of that and kind of learned what emotional stability tastes like, but it still isn't the same as dealing with your emotional space in a responsible way. And the first group already also had this topic with emotions and how you treat your emotional space. And you guys, I feel like you guys are still refusing to act out now from that new emotional place. And what is the thing that is holding you back there? Interesting, very, very interesting. Because I feel like you have really you have kind of achieved that first step. You have got the notion of how to ground yourself and how to stabilize yourself. But now it's the time to act according to this, and this is where you struggle. Maybe because you have even too many options. Maybe because you are aware now of a lot of different things that you might have not been able to take in account before, and now that you can, you need to be more inventive and find a new approach to deal with these things. But why? Let me see, what should you focus on? Yeah, for looking forward, somehow. Guys, I feel for this column, I'm gonna use the Druid Tarot for you. So, I'm still gonna leave this one out here. So, we have the Hermit, we have the Rebirth, which is the card right before the World, which is Judgment. So, and Ten of Pentacles up there, upright, all cards upright. Yeah, you struggle. See, you have Death in reverse as bottom of the deck for the first fraction of the reading, and here you have Judgment. So, and that comes up in a position here for you, which talks about obstacles or things you struggle with or might struggle with in the next 7 days. And interesting. And here the Two of Wands talks a lot about, planning things out with your sight in the future, like overlooking things, because you can see that the man in this card, I always want to, flip the card, because when I'm filming the camera is there and I flip the footage afterwards. And I think this time I actually might leave it that way, because for the first group also I turned around a lot of the cards when explaining it. So here you have this man standing here holding a globe, and he's looking above the sea, this bay. He's standing on stable grounds, but looking ahead and planning things out, maybe considering to leave, but maybe also not. And overall, it is Seeing things from a distance is a topic with the Two of Wands a lot. Seeing things from a distance. And for you, it came out upright. So, because in reverse, that might indicate that you are, too withdrawn of matters to make a good choice there at the moment. But here with you, you are actually doing this. This might be the thing that you have also mastered emotionally with your emotional space. And in the end, what you should focus on, the Hermit, it all comes to some more introspection you need to do, I think, group number 2. In the end, there's no way around it. There's no way around it. So let me clarify the Hermit, please. Yeah, 7 of Swords. But what are you feeling so guilty about? Group number 2, what is that guilt? What's causing you to be so unrest, in a sense? And also, what causes that hesitation of Six of Wands, rebirth? Okay, I feel like this now starts making way more sense here. I feel like this is a bottom of the deck thing here. I feel group number 2, for you, it is a lot about, in a sense, the public eye and public image, in a sense. I get this a lot when looking at the Six of Wands here that came out. You feel like on your actions at the moment, a lot of things depend. And that your view, like how you view the world, you are majorly responsible for things going well there. It might be because you have, in reality, a lot of responsibility. You might be married, have children, have a very important position in your job, and overall, I feel like you need to realize that still, while you might have come to terms with your emotional place for yourself, now when it comes to your outward actions, do some introspections in that sense. I feel, group number 2, I feel like you might have in the recent past messed something up that really brought you some like negative PR, or made you feel ashamed, made you feel guilty, and you most likely, honestly, I believe you didn't do this even with intention. You didn't have ill intentions there, not at all, but it ended up being a messy situation for you. And I feel like for you, group number 2, I want to pull a shadow card, because I feel that your hesitancy, like you're holding back into tapping into your responsibility and acting according to your new emotional place, is bound by memories or by fears of some situation that occurred that really did make you feel embarrassed or uncomfortable about your public image. And here you have like the troops and the leader on the horse going into battle. And also in the traditional, like in the Rider-Waite deck, you can see with the Six of Wands, it's the situation is a little bit different. Like here, it is open. Are they going into war? Are they returning from it? It is very hard to tell. And it might be both. In this card, it is not distinguished that much. And it's interesting that I felt like I want to pull this deck for this section, because in the traditional meaning, it's quite easy to interpret that, because he carries the staff with the wreath on it, and overall the scene is a lot about celebrating a victory. While here it is open, and you have rebirth laying there, and kind of the bottom position is the Two of Wands. I feel like your lack of foresight, maybe, or thinking things through, has blessed you, unfortunately, with not exactly a situation that was very beneficial for you, but it carried quite a few learnings for you. But now, understandably, you might face that fear of the past repeating itself in a sense, maybe. Which also might be the situation here a little bit. While it's not really talking about that. Just when I said this, I looked at the imagery here, and if we detach this quite much from the traditional meanings, it kind of mirrors that a little. So I think some shadow work might be really beneficial for you. Let's see if this is meant to be, then these cards will pop out. And to be honest, interesting. Let's just see. Feels like I shouldn't have put them back in the deck, but what has been done has been done. But we'll see. They will pop out. So, group number 2, what should they work on? What should they work on? Let's pull a third. So, yeah, I feel like Gilded Regret, that came out first. And for this deck, I have a little guiding book that came along with it, which is really nice, and it contains quite fruitful quotes, I think, that are very beneficial when you tap into some shadow work. And to those of you who haven't been that deep into this matter, shadow work, shortly explained, basically means that you try to face the parts of you which are dealing with emotions or experiences or parts of ourselves that we are very tempted to label off as negative parts, or something that isn't very consciously present, and we don't even realize that this pattern underlies our behavior, and that pattern isn't necessarily, it's not that those patterns are bad or something, but often those patterns stem from places of pain or places of being hurt, or also having fear. Places of fear is a topic there. Basically, fear and guilt and pain are very much underlying a lot of things that we encounter when we go into shadow work. And the goal is to meet those parts, get to know them, and heal your relationship with them. So I feel these cards are very beneficial for that usually. But Gilded Regret, when that popped out, I felt like immediately this resonated with what I said before. You ended up being in some messy situation which you actually even resolved. Like, you learned your lessons from that, but still it left you kind of with a bad taste there, and you are very aware that you were the cause of that, even when people don't blame you even anymore afterwards. But inside, you know that that has been really a bad move, and even without you doing it consciously or with intention, still it doesn't make it better. So let's check what Gilded Regret actually says. I feel like living in the past. Please give me 5 more minutes to linger. Yeah, memories are like floating underwater, safe, warm, and murky. Yet they held the scent of death. Interesting, we have the death card there. The cage of our memories is the most gilded, lingering to the past, savoring crumbs and flashes, hints and ifs. But is our sword, however, is our shield. But is our sword, however, is our shield. We follow the river against the currents to a sea of maybes. We cannot say life is here now. We just say life was here. So that even when the future builds day by day, we still look backward to memories and possibilities. Options we missed, things we lost, changes we fled. So this talks about this also. It is like staying in the twilight of conscience, in the blessed state of those 5 minutes between the time the alarm rings and when you actually have to wake up. So it's so interesting because as I said, the paragraphs and the quotes in this book with these cards put so much essence into things, and this resonates so well with what I said before. You might have cleared out some things for you, but you are not yet acting out on them. You are resisting that for some reason. And like little kids, between the time mom calls and the time we need to wake up and run. But those 5 minutes are taking up too much time. They are the drain of our energies, or our opportunities, of our future. The ifs are now gone. Whatever has been already, isn't it? So interesting. And Parasite talks um, very obvious in this sense about, using and getting used, give and take, when the only answer to lack of self-efficiency is to cling to another one. Yeah. What can survive alone will seek company, but instead of growing together, they will wither together. So that might also talk about, yeah, there's a one part in the text, in the longer text, which I feel is very resonating with you. A parasite, a leech, kills itself as much as it kills the host. It sacrifices the journey to the destination, and then the destination to its own failures. So, yeah. Group number two, you know what this is about, you know what the situation is, and the only thing I can really urge you or advise you to take away from this reading is that you don't need to take that leap now immediately. You don't need to make a leap of faith into the unknown in order for your world to be restored or reborn into a better one. And sometimes it's consistent work. It's consistent, persistent work that will lead you there and take you there. And it doesn't have to be a rush of the moment. It doesn't have to be that terrible one event that you are fearing because it's like everything or nothing. I think this is what in your head you are very much, cultivating and feeding, while yes, it might sound like, and I don't know how to phrase this in a way that gets across the emotional part of it. Yeah, and somehow I feel, see, even this feeling that I get, it is so much about like, you know what, you have learned your lessons and things, but you really struggle to take that bridge to get over that gap, which is about expressing yourself in that way and stepping out of that stepping out of that place where you are still lingering in your old experiences and letting them hold you back. So, calling the storm, just take it slow. Really acknowledge what needs to be done in order for that rebirth to happen. And rebirth can happen slowly. It's not always with a boom and a bang. It can happen slowly in steps. So, calling the storm is power comes not from the inside, but from connection and integration to a greater whole. Pull and release, push to the limit. The eye is the only peaceful place that can be. There is time to find and release our power, like a spring that had been compressed to the point it has lost the memory of motion and movement. Yet there is power inside it. Finding it is called empowerment. It starts from the belief in our power, in our ability to cope, to fight, to endure, to overcome a challenge. However, too often we are encouraged to see empowerment as something that happens only within in our psychological space. We are not necessarily islands. We can borrow the power of the world around, the context, the environment, the expectations. We do not control the storm, we just call it. To call the storm, we need to fear it, and this is what will make us strong. After the storm, there is always sun. So if the sky has been gray for too long time, it's time not to fear the storm, but to embrace it. It will grow up and devour our chains and our jailers, and it will hurt us as well. But it will be healthier than just stare at the chilly rain. We can restart only after we let ourselves end. So I feel like for some of you, it might be that this already happened and you are now dealing with the aftermath and the rebirth part after that pain. For some of you, I feel it is part of the process at the moment. And you will know best what resonates with you here because it's a general reading and we cannot map out every single detail. Though I feel this reading carries a lot of detail. While I also feel for some of you the stories are quite different. For I even cannot say that like some of you are in a quite powerful position in the story. Some of you have been on the other side of the table. It's very hard to distinguish these things in a general reading, but I feel like this reading either way provides you a big chunk of very detailed guidance. So this is very, very good. And now let's see. I want to check how you can actually treat yourself and nourish yourself a little bit throughout the next 7 days. But I feel like for the first group, this is a thing that might not last for you the entire January or something, but it might follow you the next 2 or 3 weeks most definitely. I feel like 2 weeks might be the span where you get major parts of this resolved somehow. And yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. And let's just check, how can group 2 treat themselves? How can group 2 take care of themselves? How can group 2 take care of themselves? Whoop. I feel like this, all of those actually, yeah, I feel like we should keep them. So, a lot of cards coming out today. It's really, really active here. So, the Milky Way perspective, the dawn. Remember how it was about the storm and the sun always coming out after the storm? The iceberg, hidden. So with this, I will just peek into the guidebook because I also feel like here you might receive some resonating messages as well with this one. So, yeah, I feel like the Milky Way with perspective is talking a lot about the energy which we have in the Two of Wands here, stepping back and seeing things from a more distant place, you know, tapping out of our emotional and behavioral turmoil in your case, and looking at things with the experience that we gained. And it literally says in one of the last sentences, you know, seeing things that lay before you with a clear sight and mind. And yeah, but how do we tap into this? All of the cards are kind of giving you, I'm gonna be honest with you, the cards are giving you quite much of a, I'd say, quite much of a wake-up call and kind of a very loving but also quite harsh push in a sense. And maybe even bruising you up here a little bit because they were like, you know, you have figured out your mistakes in your past and all that, but now step up to it, like act on that and take those decisions and take those actions. And it's up to you. You need to really work. You need to really put in that effort. And whenever you kind of get lost in your guilt, maybe in the things that you have internalized and in your losses and things, it's like, no, we are going to give you one push after another until you realize that what is going to take you out here is working with the new attitude and the experiences that you gained. So the dawn is about new beginnings. I'd say embrace them and find the beauty into in something new happening, in something new arising. Again, also, this card talked a lot about, you know, greeting the arrival of that destruction even, and then embracing the beauty and the feel of a fresh start. And I would really now invite you to even just close your eyes for a bit and imagine that scent, that notion that we have when in summer, when the sun is rising, you step out in the grass and you can smell and feel and hear the world awakening. And it is just to those of you who are connected to nature, I feel like even imagining and picturing this now will awaken that feel in you that would be so beneficial and would be the emotion that you can follow, and that is guiding you into a good place, into a more experienced place, into a new place, leaving even that guilt and shame behind that you've been carrying and battling now. And yeah, reading now through the paragraphs for this one, and it resonates so well. So the iceberg and hidden things is again a lot about internalizing and I feel that that has been a baggage that you've been carrying for so long, and it might even have to do with that moment that caused you this fear, or this hesitation in embracing this new beginning, and now stepping out of your closet with your transformed emotional place, but still not being able to act on it. And that actually might have been the root of the problem in the first place. So let's just see what the iceberg has here. And for these, I could go on about, the iceberg also is about floating but not moving themselves, though they have such a huge power within them, but they are not necessarily distributing that power themselves, but that power is being caused by the interaction of the flowing water, or something approaching the iceberg and then even crashing into it, or the iceberg crashing into something. The iceberg itself remains frozen and motionless, and it's frozen water. It's also encapsulated things, hidden things, and they can sometimes cause even more harm or damage than something like liquid water. Liquid water, which also is a huge force and can be both blissful and damaging. But it is only when we have this block of not even fully disclosed things piled up and grouped and sometimes broken off ashore and then being afloat with no direction, that this causes us more harm. So that's all I have for you, group number 2. Please remember to embrace the new beginning you're working towards to, and remember that you have already achieved a lot. It's just that there's still some work ahead of you. And see you in the next video. I wish you a wonderful week. Bye! Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So the first 2 groups were quite heavy in a sense, not too heavy, but there was some emotional stuff going on. So I'm very curious what your group is going to look like. Group number 3, if you chose this little paint scrap here, this is going to be your reading. So I'm just going to put it to the side for the reasons of space and spreading out the cards. And for you, I feel like using the Druid Tarot to map out the upcoming 7 days. So group number 3, what can they expect during the next week? What are their upcoming 7 days going to look like? So this came out first. I love the Ace of Swords cup card. Why did I say cup? Card in this deck. It is very, very beautiful here. So here we have... So it is Temperance, but Temperance in reverse. So... let's see what else comes out for you. So the Seven of Wands, Ace of Swords, Temperance in reverse. Interesting. Again, I feel a realignment. Like, this might be global energy. It might be, and it fits well with what is happening astrologically. So a huge shift is happening here somehow. A huge shift. And huge in that sense that it is breaking, and not necessarily breaking in a bad sense, but it is taking apart and putting back together in a new way, like restructuring things that have been quite fundamental and very, backed up by principle for you. So it has been something that is deeply rooted in your personal value system. And the Six of Cups, so, but in a position where it's challenging there. So it might be that you are coming to terms with something from the past. It might be, for some of you, it really might be also a relationship thing, maybe. But let's see. So this was just a bad word, but these came out here. Feels like they belong together. Three of Swords reversed and Five of Cups, some healing. Healing, I think, so far has come up for every group here. And these belong together too for me. Nine of Wands. You need to stop lingering in your past memory. Stop dwelling on it. You need to heal there. For some of you, I really feel this is a relationship thing, and you need to pursue something, not even necessarily just something focused and concrete, but just put your force again away from this. Put your force towards a new space. And where's the entrance, please? Where's the entrance, please? Yeah. You seem very blocked there, and somehow I sense that is because of the past. And yeah, and you seem to be very blocked in your actions and taking those actions. Interesting. Blessings for group number 3. Blessings for group number 3. I don't know, it was upright. So, Knight of Swords, Knight of Wands. Here we have the Empress and Nine of Swords in reverse. And again, a lot of cards coming out. And King of Swords upright. Group number 3, I believe that a lot of the issues that you are carrying from the past, I feel there's a lot of idolization happening somehow. And again, but not in a sense that you keep thinking about it all the time, but you, not even idolization, that wasn't the correct word. I feel like you referentiate the past a lot to an extent where it is actually hindering you to pursue something else. And the guilt that you are putting yourself through there, that really stands in the way of you coming to terms with your power. And I feel like what can get you out of that place and would be very beneficial for you is really embracing and acknowledging that the decisions that you feel like taking rationally, like you might have a very clear rational perception what decision might be good and make sense. I feel like you could follow it. What is hindering you a lot is your eye on the past, while actually that is what keeps you away from blossoming into your best power. And your advantage is that still you might be an air sign. A lot of swords coming up here. And also, like, the court cards like the king and the knight. So, and the ace of swords. I feel like your advantage in this situation is that you understand what decision is best for you and what decision will take you to the best place for you. But still, you seem to be very much the flipped coin of another group, which was very much in their headspace and material space and in their very cognitive headspace, and were struggling to implement that component, like that emotional component with that. And for you, I feel it is not necessarily the opposite, but for you now it's the right time to act. It's the right time to embrace the rationale that you have, the very cognitive and analytic mind that you might carry. I feel like that is. On the other hand, that also is what here with the Nine of Swords And I feel that Nine of Swords is so much stemming from this. Let's see what you should focus on, group number 3. And for this I will use this deck. So let's now just see. So what should group number 3 focus on? Should group number 3 focus on? Maybe that also is part of the sign. You are trying to find focus when actually you might have somehow been already past that point. I don't know why I get that message right now. Whew. Seems that I have been right. Yeah. Interesting. Tower, yeah, there has been something in the past that has very majorly impacted you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something relationship-wise or emotional, but I sense for some of you it actually is. So, group number 3, for you, I believe it is about taking into account the knowledge, the experience that you have gained through this event, whatever that was. So let me just see, maybe for some of you we can clarify. So the world, there we go, life. Yeah, for some of you it is the home life actually. For some of you, not necessarily the home life, but it might be something that how do I put this? It is something very fundamental. As I said, something very much backed up by principle. And home life in that sense, for those of you who are married and to whom that was a very identifying or is a very identifying part in their life. And in their personality in some sense, it is there. But it has happened in an area of life. For some it might be career very much. And I sense that some of you are people who are very much creating things with their hands, but also requiring some very specific knowledge. So also quite valued and important positions, which in fact sometimes might be very much overseen and not quite much jumping into public's eye, but a lot of people need to rely on you, and it might have happened there, but there was some major shift in there or something that made you really reevaluate things and maybe approach things differently, or it caused some sort of disruption, some sort of situation that is taking you to this day through some guilt tripping. But you have the Chariot there in reverse. Might also mean at the moment, this is maybe what also makes me think a little bit about home environment in a sense. I feel for some of you that environment is out of balance at the moment. For some of you that environment is out of balance, and not necessarily for all of you. For those for whom it's not, there it is, about you feeling very hindered in acting out on what you know is the best plan for you, the best path to tackle. And sometimes it is actually good to let go of a very clear and focused perception of things. Sometimes it is enough to have the core points of a plan having mapped out and acting on that, and seeing where it takes you and then deciding. And I also see with you that you are, as I said, you have some very specific knowledge, some very specific skill, which is supporting you in this situation too. So clarify Two of Wands, clarify Two of Wands, please. Clarify Two of Wands, clarify Two of Wands, please. So we have the Well and the King of Swords in reverse here. So I feel like you really somehow something is really blocking you from working with that knowledge that you have, and I really want to find out what it is. So let me just, take the regular title for this one. So what is blocking group number 3? What is blocking group number 3? Okay, what is blocking group number 3? Again, we have the Three of Swords in reverse here. We have the Lovers, we have the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands, which is here, public eye, and also having some sort of feeling of, you really feel like the other coin to one of the groups here, group number 3. Talks a lot about feeling like every one of your moves is being watched and not being able to forget that and let go of that and just go ahead and execute whatever you feel like doing. Also, leap of faith, divine timing, divine connection, but also divine timing. Just trusting that you are well led with your knowledge and with what you feel like. Let's pull some shadow work cards for you, because I feel some sort of heavy energy, and the longer I get into the reading, the more confusion and like demotivation I get. Feels like a swamp that is really pulling you down somewhere. So we get I Won't Cry for You. And I know that card in this deck, it talks a lot about, seeing something in the past as nothing more and nothing less than a memory. And we will check on the quote for this card. We have 2 more cards falling out. Colorless Angel. Yeah, it's like, it feels like there's no lust in life in some sense. It feels very emptied, very drained, very much grinding to grind, and even that has now become hard. Hiding your true self, Colorless Angel. Yeah, hiding your true self talks a lot about the apparent thing here, that you might not fully disclose yourself entirely. Also somehow feel relates to this a lot, to the Empress reversed and the Nine of Swords, guilt tripping you for some of your needs, maybe even. And let's see. Colorless Angel. Somehow I feel that is very important. It is better not to feel rather than feeling pain. That is kind of the pattern that goes with this card. So apathy is the crowned king of nothingness and the shining queen of whatever. We can be Siegfried, the dragon-slaying hero, but not when he slays the dragon, nor when he's betrayed and dies, but when he's simply doing nothing. We can be Michael the archangel, while he waits bored and motionless, and St. George, surprised in a moment of stillness and nothingness. All the strong rivers can become a swamp, ridiculously how I mentioned that before, when they reach the plains. And the most yummy food can become gummy after a couple of hours unattended on a table. There is a lot of darkness when we make the habit of going grey. We numb our senses with a fog of delays, and then we just get indifferent to the fog herself. I'm here, we whisper, and if by a very tiny chance someone notices and replies and asks, who's there? We become shy and we stay silent a little more. You cannot be saved unless you face the dragon, and the dragon hurts. Of course it does. So yeah, you feel very, as I said, very stagnant energy, very stagnant, very blocked. All those motion cards and all those positions that are, except this one, that are moving, they are like really moving. They are either reversed or they are in positions which are challenging. And I feel like this really is dragging you down somehow. Really, it really is. And I won't cry for you. Sometimes when it's over, closure must be created, not just found. Yep. I gave you my last gift. I shed my last tear for you. It's a time not to let you free, but to let myself free. Yeah, group number 3. To those of you with whom this resonates, it is about a personal relationship somehow. And let's check on the hiding your true self quote. Hiding is keeping things inside. Lack of trust becomes lack of hope. So there must be a limit. You could be in front of the mirror or you could hide behind the mirror, yet you choose to be the mirror. Yeah, it resonates, as I said, with this so much. Group number 3, I feel like now really pulling a card and checking how you can actually pamper yourself a little bit and take care of yourself so you get well through this journey. Because you really need to get your strength together and just pull through whatever you know is good for you. Because you know it and you are just delaying it. You're delaying it a little bit more because you're afraid of the outcome. While the outcome is better than the stagnant state you're in. Eagle connection comes out. So if you are into spirituality, do some work with your spirit guides and your ancestors. Really go within yourself and allow yourself to feel and be whatever you feel like being and saying and crying out, or whatever your need is, fulfill it. Really fulfill it. And how can they connect? How can they connect? How can they connect? How can they connect? So we have cave, which is kind of going back to the roots, the things that you are made of, the essence of things that really excites you, ignites a fire. Green man is synergy, and it also in a sense means rebirth. And let's check on those quotes too. Today I very much feel like tapping into the quotes of the guiding books somehow. Because I feel there are a few sentences that very, very much might resonate with some of you. Even when I might not see the exact resonancy sometimes, but I feel like you guys knowing all the things you do about yourself, because this is a general reading, we cannot map out every single detail here, but let me see. Yeah, and what I feel for you, definitely nature. Nature is a thing, that's a very common theme here. You can connect to whatever helps and aids you in the situation in nature. So, and I somehow feel a shift from insecure energy in the beginning of this reading somehow. And not that I was insecure at things, but I felt like some insecurity lingering, and now it feels calm. It feels pacified in some sense. So maybe that helps some of you too. I feel some of you really just need some time to treat yourself and really take a deep breath, inhale, exhale, and really look at yourself a little bit from the distance and understand that you actually are knowledgeable and you know what to do. Like that's bliss that you have, and you are amidst of overcoming something. And just the final move is actually trusting your gut there and trusting that you are protected, that there is a divine plan behind this and it's good for you. And yeah, withdrawing to your own space also is a common theme I see here. Really giving yourself, creating that space for you where you can be yourself and really create closure for yourself as well. For some of you, it is that you can only create that closure when you create a space where you feel comfortable enough to tap into those sides and thoughts that otherwise you are afraid might throw you off your track. So, yeah, and again, this card also talks somewhat about divine protection. So these are kind of connected in some sense, I feel. But overall, yes, going into nature, meditation is a huge one for you. And for those of you who are not so much into ancestry work and spirit guide work, overall meditation and going out in nature, particularly if you feel very connected to nature, if you feel very connected to water, to lakes, to the river, to rivers, to some of you, I sense the beach also. Um, but almost like in most of the cards that have popped out here, we have some water in some form, especially in the Druid cards. And here we also have a very nature theme here. And I just sense water in some sense with the Ace of Swords also here. Um, Again, particularly me being drawn to use this deck and that Ace of Swords coming out there. I feel like very, regardless of me just finding that card very beautiful, I feel very magnetically kind of pulled to it all the time, and has a very pacifying energy somehow. And I feel, yes, these are the things that I can tell you today. And let me just give you a last thing. So, those of you who know me in person know music is a huge thing for me, and I will just ask, what are some artists or some music you can listen to during the next week to receive some inspiration or interesting messages, interesting insight. So, let's see. 3 cards came out. Um, we have Kate Bush, we have Miles Davis, and Lady Gaga. Interesting. So, and on the cards we have, some quotes of both the work of the artists, but also regarding the biography. So with Kate Bush, we have never lose your secrecy, and cultivate nostalgia for something that has never been, and the darts of, or the arrows of desire are sometimes dipped in poison. Which I feel for some of you might resonate so much with the 3 of Swords coming out here. Sorry that I'm coughing now. Getting raspy, as if it's hard to talk about this. So, for some of you, in fact, that might be something which you to this day struggle to talk about. It might be. So, with Miles, we have play like you don't know how to, and progress is not possible without shock. Yes, my dear ones, dear group number 3, it's not possible without shock very often. And the important sounds are those that are not getting played. Somehow I feel that is something that will hit some of you differently and be very good for you to hear. So for Lady Gaga, we have make good business out of bad romances, and over exaggerate your contradictions. Be the star that you were born to be. So yeah, the Empress here. Reverse her and get her upright. And see you in the next video. I wish you a wonderful week. Bye. So, hello group number 4 and welcome to your reading. So if you chose this little paint scrap here, which also kind of has gold reflections, I just think it doesn't really show here on the camera, but I will just put this aside for space reasons and let's see what the next 7 days have in stock for you. So before we go ahead, I just want to cleanse it a little, the deck and the space. Today's readings, all previous readings have been, quite heavy in a way, very emotional topics here, so I'm curious if this theme will continue with your group too. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it. So group number 4, the next 7 days. So I feel like you actually have, feel like this belongs here. So I feel like you have issues sitting still in some sense. I don't know why I get the feeling. And some of you might have issues really keeping it calm and sitting still, while on the other hand, some of you really cannot get out of that period of rest yourself somehow. And yeah, interesting, very interesting energy here. So let's see. Oh, group number 4. I sense some of you are also sitting in the emotional boat here that we have going on today. It seems like all groups are, it feels like a very global energy. Maybe also with the shift of the year, still, some of you still looking back there. In the end, I believe for all groups now, or 3 groups now, 4, the Ace of Swords has been come out. So I feel like a lot of truth is about to be delivered in the upcoming week. So, but for you, I sense you are, I believe, the only group today where I feel like this is really a weak thing. I don't know exactly why now yet, but yeah, 5 of Wands is bottom of the deck energy. So, dear group number 4, very hard to explain. I feel like you have actually grown a lot in the recent past, during the past weeks or just the past time. You have grown, you've done some spiritual work maybe there, you have, or tried to tap into this more and really, but you have tried to level up your life for yourself somehow. Become more tidy with things, or more reliable or something, more responsible, taking responsibility, but for the benefit, for the spiritual and your own benefit of that, which is very good and very nice. But that also seems to hinder you at the moment. So let me clarify the Mage reversed. So we have the Page of Swords, then I was looking at the 5 of... Wait, that came out upright. So... yeah, interesting. You are about to, I'd say group number 4, you are about to learn something very beneficial for you and something giving you a lot of that ability that you still feel lacking. So I feel like this leveling up that has been taking place and that will continue to take place, and you exiting that stasis and that stagnancy for whatever reason you were in that, that is about to come in a very fruitful place. In a place that I feel Ace of Swords, please clarify Ace of Swords. Yeah, we get the Queen of Swords here, which is a lot about sharing and not only having that truth component and speaking it, but also actively doing something, providing something for the higher good with it, in a sense, you know, kind of giving it as a blessing. Here we have... Why did that dude come out though? Interesting. I will place him here. I will place that here. Because I feel that's something quite... It might be actually one of the things that you were trying to overcome. Like either you... I think either you have been lied to, cheated on, like there's a component of infidelity, yes, but just, you know, not a sincere energy, or somebody not revealing exactly all aspects of something, and that giving you a headache while you might not even be aware. I also get, on the other hand, the energy of kind of fighting windmills, like in the Don Quixote scenario. So you go against something that is not a real enemy that you can win over. That is the thing. I feel like I get very restless energy here. On the other hand, not being able to execute it. Not being able to execute it because it gets too much and we kind of don't understand the entire theme and situation here. But in the end, it comes down to action. It comes down to action. It comes down to you learning the necessary. You will learn the necessary missing bits that you need to get yourself organized and move on with this. And also, I sense some of you, guilt tripping seems to be a very major theme. Like you guilt tripping yourself a lot. It seems to be a major theme in this overall reading. So seems like we will... It might be a fire sign too. Might be a fire sign. And now Capricorn season is just, you know, let me see. Okay, we have Sagittarius, we have Mars, we have 6. So could be 6th house. Yeah. Interesting, very interesting. And North Node, Aries 1. So it might be the case that the things, first off, you might be actually an Aries or a Sagittarius. You also might be a Leo, but I don't see this so much here. To be honest, I see very much Aries, Sagittarius here. But especially Aries for some reason. I really feel that you might be an Aries. You might, and the thing is that I feel the thing that you are aiming for, or we're aiming for, it might be actually something that in the end ends up being your handbrake in a sense. It ends up being something which causes you not exactly the experience and the result that you were expecting to. But you don't really have the option to, you know, don't do it, so you try to delay it. But what are you trying to delay? So let's see. Let's give it a shuffle. Very much restlessness here. So good. Those were quite much. So good. So we have Queen of Pentacles reversed. Yeah, comfort is not going to be your solution. Delay is not going to be your solution. I feel like these should be the other way around. I don't exactly remember which came out first, but they should be. The bottom of the deck is the Tower. Let me just place it there. So yeah, here with the Moon, we have, secrets, something not being revealed to you. So this is the position that would reveal what you should focus on or what would be beneficial for you to focus on. And that is kind of being left in the dark. It's being left in the dark, but it's about to be revealed to you, I feel. I feel like this is the thing that is very much aiming for, it's going to be revealed to you. And on the other hand, what I also want to mention, I feel like some of you might have strong air placements in some sense. You might. We have the Tower here, so for some of you something quite shifting and quite major might happen within the next 7 days, but also maybe within even the next 6 months maybe. That might also be the case, because I now just needed to think of it, how I popped the cubes and the 6 was up there. So, but overall, I feel like it might be that within the next week or 2 weeks, there might be something happening. But overall, what you should focus on, I believe, still is, remain in that space that you have started creating for yourself, or where you have improved yourself a lot. You have really tried to shift perspectives a little bit. You have been coming out of a place that has been very stagnant, and maybe just not even stagnant in a physical sense, but stagnant in growth, stagnant in learning, and that has definitely ended, and it's about to being elevated and went like amped up a lot, and stability and remaining in what you have cultivated during the past. That's not really an option I see for you, group number 4. So yeah, here I wanted to clarify the Queen of Pentacles, and we get the Ten of Wands here. And I really feel that you are people who, you embrace change. You embrace change, and that is actually more of your natural grounds. Even if you sometimes, of course, like all human beings, having stability in certain aspects of your life is a very basic need that we require. But on the other hand, I feel like for you, the time has come to maybe even take that leap of faith, in a sense, with the Knight of Wands here, who kind of always jumps into the unknown in some sense. But he definitely doesn't do that in a space out of his head or something. He's still quite much aware of things, and he's taming down whatever needs to be tamed down, but he's daring to take that leap. And he is focused, but that focus is going to be revealed to you, I believe, within the next 7 days. So yeah, group number 4, it's very interesting. Let's check what you can do to maybe do some shadow work and exploration, actually. So shadow work for group number 4. Shadow work for group number 4. What can group number 4 focus on? What is... Let's see. Hiding your true self. Okay. Let's pop some more. Stay What am I overlooking? Yeah. Seems a very general topic for all readings today, to come to terms with the past, to embrace whatever has happened as nothing more, nothing less than a memory, a gift, a part of life. So hiding your true self talks a lot about apparently not disclosing yourself fully, but also going into the state of mirroring things. And I feel like this is something you might have done, which is limited growth, etc. I don't even feel so drawn to go into this too much because I feel like you know what this is about and you very clearly recall the situation or state. Anger in chains. Anger in chains. I won't cry for you. Is, as I said, a lot about forming or letting a memory become a gift with all the good and the bad and embracing it, but leaving it where it is, leaving it in the past. So, but still, I will read the quotes to you. So, with I won't cry for you. Sometimes when it's over, closure must be created, not just found. I gave you my last gift, I shed my last tear for you. It's a time not to let you free, but to let myself free. Talks a lot about this, but I feel like you have mastered this quite well already. Or if not, then you are doing well in doing this. For most of you, I feel this is something where you are at terms. Like with hiding your true self, same story. So hiding is keeping things inside, lack of trust becomes lack of hope, so there must be a limit. You could be in front of the mirror or you could hide behind the mirror, yet you choose to be the mirror. So, and I feel that might resonate quite deeply with some of you because I somehow get, for some of you, it's related to this Hierophant and Hanged Man thing. Improving yourself in some sense and shifting up your perspective, but that usually is a journey of its own. But you have started that, I feel, and you are also somehow this is intertwined for you. I feel for a lot of you these two are intertwined. So anger in chains, let's look in there because I feel this might be like the deal breaker in this reading, whatever. I get that somehow. Force channeled outside, unreasonable, undirected, but powerful. I've got to break free, I want to be free. Anger is not the road to clarity. It's not a controlled effort or a cold dish. It is raw, primal, explosive. It is the loss of reason, the loss of restraint, a bomb burning bright in black color, a wax seal carefully crafted to be immediately broken. But anger is also freedom. How can you break a single thread woven into a million others? How can you unfetter yourself from a bad situation, letting all the rest unchanged? It doesn't work like that. When you need to break free, you need to shake and shout, and more things will be broken than just what you want to hurt. They are like a bundle. You can target, but you cannot choose. Break many to break one. Save one to save many. Yeah, I feel this very much is at the bottom of the deck here with the Tower and the Justice. Yeah, also here, disrupting stability and including the elements that are keeping you down, but also the ones that might actually be what supplies you and sustains you in some aspects. But I feel for you it's really exciting and interesting times, but things are going to be like there's some shakeup in the close future for you, I believe, group number 4. But still, please remember that, this is just reading and we are free humans with free power of will and free decisions. But it might be that you experience some shakeups in your life and they are actually something that will contribute to your personal growth and your personal journey if you want that. So let's just pull a card on how you can care for yourself well during the next 7 days, group number 4. So let's see, how can group number 4 care for themselves? How can group number 4 care for themselves? that was a bad one. But this wasn't. So, reflection, some introspection. But also the winter solstice, this card, you know, it kind of talks, I feel it talks a lot about this aspect here. Having a phase of stasis and introspection just to come back with a new cycle and a new force of life. And I feel for you that might happen through this moment here with the Tower and the anger in chains. I feel like you have been introspecting and working, but still keep doing that and prepare yourself for whatever change you might have been wanting in your life to come. It is about to come. If you've craved things to change up a little, and especially if you've been working towards that, I see that that will happen for you, group number 4. That will, if that is what you have been hoping for some time, and if you're a lot like, you know, I just want to move forward, and I even am willing to take a different path than the one that I have always walked over and over again, and that has brought me into the same stagnant space and has kind of limited my horizons, then that is about to change for you. So let's see now. I've also got some other cards in stock here, which are cards with some musicians here, some quotes out of their work and their biography. And if some of you know me already and know me personally, you know that music is a huge thing for me. And let's just see what artists you might listen to get some inspiration and maybe some interesting messages even, because sometimes that song and those lyrics get played at just the right time. Maybe you have experienced the situation, especially if you are into music, you probably have. So let's just see, what artists should group number 4 listen to? I feel like pulling another one for you. Whew. And there we go. Because today every group got either 2 or 3, and I was like, yeah, I want to complete that for you guys too. So we have Edith Piaf here, we have James Brown, and we have Barbara Streisand. So with Edith Piaf we have Don't Regret Anything, live with every single fiber of your being, and use your imperfections as a weapon. So oh my god. So with James Brown we have so hit them and leave, and stay in motion until payday, and when you are ready to get up, you are ready to, you know, start things or get started with things. And with Barbara Streisand we have through shining come into being, and it is easy to fool yourself, but not easy, or it is hard to fool the public. And if you don't make it straight to the top, or if you don't make it straight to the top as soon as possible, like already, quickly, immediately, then go somewhere else. So I feel this thing with picking a different path, or the aspect that your focus is not getting revealed, I feel that is quite crucial for your reading. So very, very interesting here. An interesting choice of artists, very interesting. Because all of them talk a lot about coming into yourself, and regardless of the public reaction or public image. So maybe that is something that also might be beneficial for you. Group number 4, thank you for tuning into this reading, and see you in the next video, and I wish you a wonderful week. Bye!